Well, hey fans, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Spoilers, and today we're talking spoilers for The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a really enjoyable Marvel Disney Plus series. I believe I gave it a good 4.25 out of 5. Just lots that this series did. I think it did well. There are some negatives, of course, as with anything, but overall, like I said, pretty enjoyable. It takes place sometime after Avengers Endgame, and you got Sam Wilson is now just completing special assignments for the government to make ends meet since Tony Stark is dead. I guess nobody's bankrolling the Avengers now. If there even are Avengers, we don't really get details on that. But yeah, he's making money doing that. And then you got Sam. I just said Sam again. And then you got Bucky. He is going through government mandated therapy to help, him get over his trauma after being forced to be the Winter Soldier. And it feels like he's working with the government as well, but in a different way. He is tracking down members of Hydra who are still, or at least former members of Hydra who are still out there, and he's exposing them to the government. And I'm not exactly sure how he's making money because he has a decent apartment. If the government's providing it, if he still has his bank account from before he was frozen, if they gave him all his funds back, or how that works, but they're both being taken care of somewhat. And that leads me to believe, so the story, and I'll get more into the superhero aspect later, but Sam, they reveal his family, his sister, and his nephews. His family had a shrimping business, or a boat business, something like that, down in Louisiana, I believe. And, she's struggling to pay the mortgage on the boat and the house and all that. And he's like, look, I need to get money to deal with this, which I don't know how expensive that mortgage is, but he's a superhero. He's doing contracts for the U.S. government. Are they not paying him 6 or more figures per contract? That I don't get. It's like, I felt like, and I get they wanted to show the struggle of how hard it is for black people to get loans, even if they're superheroes, which I get. But that would have worked better if he was not being hired by the government, because I'm pretty sure these contracts are very lucrative for him. And if not, that's just ridiculous, and you got to suspend disbelief on that. But, getting to see his family was just a great aspect of the film. I really enjoyed his sister. I think they're kind of setting up a relationship between her and Bucky, which I think if they move forward with would be very interesting to see. In the beginning of the series, of course, Sam gives up the Captain America shield to the U.S. government because he does not feel like he deserves it, even though Cap gave it to him and Bucky was comfortable with Cap giving it to him. But Sam just felt like, no, this is not for me. And they get into the many reasons why later. But he was under the understanding that he was giving it up to be put in like a museum and that nobody would be Captain America anymore. But I want to say within a week or two after he gives that shield up, they choose a new Captain America who, of course, is a white guy, and everybody in the nation is like, come on, really? John Walker is Captain America after this black guy just gave up the shield that soon? And the thing is, John Walker, they show him he's really good with the shield. He's trained. He has no super or soldier serum in the beginning, so he's just a normal guy just like Sam. But they do a really interesting thing with John Walker that I thoroughly enjoyed. One, you kind of assume all right, they're putting this white guy in charge as Captain America. He's probably going to be racist or whatnot. John Walker is not racist. And at most, you could say he could be insensitive to certain plights of black people, but not because he's this affluent white guy. It's because they show he pretty much probably grew up around black people all the time and just didn't really see it. He lived in an area where things were okay. They show when he becomes Captain America, he goes back to his old high school, which is shown to be, I think, in Georgia. It's predominantly black people. His best friend in the army is black and then becomes his sidekick, Battlestar, which I think is really interesting. Of course, the black guy's the sidekick. Why couldn't he be chosen? But his friend thinks John should be Captain America. He fought with him overseas and saw him do some pretty heroic stuff. Even if, some of it was not like great morally, he saved more lives doing what he had to do. Kind of like what Captain America did in World War II. Like he talked about, yeah, there's sometimes we compromise, but we did it so people could be free. That is basically what John Walker was. Also, his wife is black. They show that in the series. So there's like a lot of layers to him that I feel like they could have explored deeper. They don't really get into that much, but you can kind of pick it up from the hints they drop. But the difference between John Walker and Sam and Steve Rogers is inherently a good man. He is a good man. He just wants to be good and wants to help anybody he can. Sam is shown as the same. He's just inherently a good man. He wants to help. When we first meet him in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, he just wants to help Steve and Natasha and help them defeat Hydra. That's what he wants to do. He doesn't have to get involved. He could have told them no when they showed up at his door, but no, he said, "Yeah, I'll help out. And here, if you can give me these wings, I can help out more." But John Walker tries to be a good man. He wants to be a good man. And it's not like, he's not inherently bad. He's flawed like most of us. He just wants to be good. So later, when he takes a super soldier serum, his bad traits come out where anything he had as, like, he is shown to have kind of like not an authoritative issue, but more like somewhat, he's impatient and can be rash. So these affect, how he does battle. So take that as you will. But, he becomes Captain America. He ends up teaming up with Sam and Bucky. They're trying to take down the Flag Smashers, who are these super soldiers who have this new super soldier serum. It's like an updated serum where when you take it, you do not get the bulk and the muscles, but you get all the benefits, the strength, the power, the endurance, all that. But you just look the same. So nobody would know you were a super soldier. They just think you were a normal person, but you're really strong. And I think they kind of hint that it might be even stronger than Captain America serum. I don't exactly remember. But these super soldiers have become accustomed to the way the world was during the snap. Pretty much when half the people on the planet were dusted, all these nations needed to rebuild, and they pretty much opened all the borders. So everybody was kind of mingling with each other and, trying to rebuild the world the best they could. But then when the Avengers brought everything back, it's like, okay, it's time to close up our borders again. So you have all these people who have, moved into these countries and moved wherever they were. It's a little muddled, but it's like, all right, now you guys got to go. These people need their houses back, et cetera, et cetera. And they're like, no, they need to be readjusted to this new world we started. Something along that lines. They're trying to do allusions to immigrants coming to places that are sometimes welcoming and sometimes not. But they are being led by this young girl. I can't remember the actress's name, but she was in Star Wars. I think it's Erin Kellyman. Yeah, Erin Kellyman as Carly Morgenthau. And she's their leader. And I think I love this actress. She does a great job. I do not think she is given enough to do in this series. And the way she's taken out I just did not like it. I thought her character moving forward in the MCU was going to play a more pivotal role. The thing about the Flag Smashers is there was this original plot line that I think was too closely related to COVID that they cut out, and they ended up cutting out like a character as well. Like her character, the lady they cut out, she just shows up at like a funeral. She's dead. It's her funeral. But there was going to be like a entire plot line regarding like vaccines and this virus that started, but they just cut that out. And I think it would have played more into what the Flag Smashers were actually trying to accomplish, because like in the show, their plan just seems bad. They don't really, it doesn't seem like they know what they're doing or what they want. And that's probably like the biggest negative of the show, is that the villains are just kind of meh. But going back to Sam, Sam is just the heart and soul of this show. He actually has a nice conversation with Rhodey about what it means to be a black man in the military, and of course a black man as a superhero. And it was a nice little conversation. I really wish Rhodey played more of a role in the show, even if he just popped up for a phone call or whatnot. But of course, they are doing Armor Wars and Ironheart. So I think what they're going to show is that unfortunately he was too busy to help Sam because all these other nations are now developing Iron Man type armors. So he probably has to take care of that. I mean, life of being a superhero. But Sam and Bucky, in order to stop the looming threat of the Flag Smash and to find out who has the Super Soldier Serum, they need to break Helmut Zemo out of prison. And we're not told if he was dusted or not because he's pretty much still in the same prison. Well, he's not in that like cell, but he's in a very secure room. Also, he's not on the raft. I think the raft is reserved for like superpowered villains. But they have to break him out, and they kind of do like the whole Ocean's 11 plan where they talk about how they're going to break him out, and then Bucky's like, no, we're not going to do that, but Sam already did it, so he's already out. Or both of them, I can't remember. But they break him out, and this is where you find out that he actually was a Sokovian baron. His family was very wealthy on top of his time with the Sokovian military. So he gets the title of Baron Zemo, which is great. And he even has like a butler who I find very funny. That the whole aspect of the show is great. Now, the rumor is that he might return to lead a Thunderbolts series or movie. It's like the Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad, but they probably won't die. I really would enjoy seeing that. I thought he was a great part of the series. Like, all the things he said were intelligent. But the weird thing about him is his purple mask. It's in there purely for fan service. Like, they don't explain why he needs it or what it does or where it came from. It was just in like one of his family's old cars. And if they were like thieves at one point, and this is what his family wore in the past, and this is how they became barons, that would be great for them to explain that, but they never did. And he only wears it, I think, once. And it was fun to see, but yeah, it was definitely unnecessary other than the fan service. Sam, in working with Bucky and Zemo, and eventually they turn on John Walker after Battlestar dies and he kills one of the Flag Smashers. They take the shield and pretty much say he's undeserving of it. Zemo escapes, and one of his wings is ripped off of his costume. So he gives it to like his military partner, I think it's Joaquin Torres, who is clearly being set up as the next Falcon. He's going to fix the hardware and just become a superhero himself. But they have Bucky, they have him go over his past with the Wakandans and how they healed him and make sure he was all right. And we even get Florence Kasumba. She comes in as AO and, you know, helps him for a little bit. And it's actually a really funny scene where John Walker is trying to like talk them out, like, hey, the Dora Milaje don't have jurisdiction here. And they're like, we have jurisdiction wherever we appear to be. And they just beat the crap out of them. And everybody just watches like, looking real good there, John. He's like, they weren't even super soldiers. Yes, dude, they're not super soldiers, but they are highly trained Wakandan soldiers with vibranium weave clothing and spears. You're not going to beat them. All you have is a vibranium shield and American training. But, you know, that's part of the reason why he feels bad and ends up taking that super soldier serum, because he thinks it will allow him to be just like Captain America and do better. But yeah, back to Bucky. He calls in a favor for them, and they make Sam his new suit, which is the Captain American Falcon suit. It is ripped straight out of the comics. It looks great. I assume it is made out of vibranium. They don't say if it's made out of vibranium or not, but it looks good, and it helps him be a good Captain America. Another character who appears in this, who I've totally skipped over, and I'm very sorry, is the Power Broker, who turns out to be Sharon Carter. And she talks about how, you know, after I helped you guys in Avengers Civil War, you know, I didn't get a part in like the rest of you superheroes. They kind of threw me out to dry. And I'm like, dude, this is Peggy Carter's niece, and they threw her out to dry. What kind of mess is this? Like, I don't like her turning out to be the Power Broker. It doesn't really sit well with me. I like her as an innately good character, and hopefully she's undercover, or maybe she's a Skrull or something like that. But it just is weird making her into like the secret villain of the show, and we'll find out later like where that's going. But I like the fact that, you know, this is Peggy Carter's niece, and she's a member of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then later becomes a member of the CIA, like all these things. And I think, personally, I think she's going to turn out to be the queen of not the Skrull queen, whoever because they made the Skrulls good guys. So we'll see what they do with Secret Invasion, but it's going to be something with Secret Invasion that Peggy Carter comes back in, maybe Armor Wars as well. Is there anything else in the show I need to cover? I mean, there's just so much in there. Ah, Isaiah Bradley. How can I forget Isaiah Bradley? I'm so sorry about that. He is shown to be one of the very few successful super soldier victims kind of after Cap goes frozen. They were able to get somewhat of the serum from his blood, and they tried a bunch of new things. And they tried on a bunch of black soldiers, and it left most of them mentally unstable, but he was pretty much fine. And they were sent on missions in Korea. And when his team of super soldiers got like captured, he went in and saved them and brought them home. But for him doing that, Hydra, technically at the time, put him in jail for like a very long time. Whereas when Cap did something like that in World War II, he was made into a hero, but they were basically covering their tracks, and they kept him in jail for decades and decades, and they kept drawing his blood. And eventually, it is his blood that was used to make the newer super soldier serum that Hydra used on their soldiers, and I believe they mix it with the Winter Soldier super soldier serum as well. And then also that serum was taken and then reformatted into what the one doctor used to create the Flag Smasher serum. But yeah, he's shown talking to Sam and talks about how, black people are always overlooked in this country, and you as a superhero, you should never want to pick up that shield. But of course, Sam decides to pick it up anyway. And his son, not his son, his grandson, not Isaiah Bradley, it's Eli Bradley. He appears as well, and I believe they're setting up some kind of young Avengers because you got Haley Steinfeld as Hawkeye and a bunch of other young stars showing up, Wiccan and Speed and WandaVision. So we will see where that goes. But of course, Sam is now Captain America, and the show ends, changing the title from The Falcon and the Winter Soldier to Captain America and the Winter Soldier. And I do hope we get a season 2. And in the season 2, it should be Captain America and the White Wolf. But we are getting an currently untitled fourth Captain America film following Sam as the new Captain America. And I have a theory, and I hope everybody agrees with this theory because it's what really makes sense. It'll be called Captain America Red, White, and Black, based off of the comics run, and that's just a great title. And it will deal with the nation's, not the entire nation is still not okay with this non-superpower black guy as Captain America, and he will, by the end of the film, earn the respect of the entire nation and potentially the world. I'm not sure who the villains will be, but I'm super excited for it. And this whole phase, I think this will actually be in phase 5 of Marvel. So we'll see where that goes. This will be after Multiverse of Madness, of course. That'll do it for me, guys. I mean, there was a lot to cover, and I'm pretty sure that I did not go over everything. Remember, you can view this spoiler review on YouTube and the blog, flipfrogllc.com/flixfrog. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, everybody, hey, come here, listen. Make sure that you subscribe. Yes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, everything. Make sure you like, comment, and share. My next Let's Talk spoilers will probably be Peacemaker. Very interesting show by James Gunn. So I will do that, and we'll see where I go from there. So until next time, I'll be seeing you.